Hey everyone, today we are going to be talking about some changes that I am going to be making in the 2023 school year. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christine and I share homeschool content here. Today I'm going to be chatting about our new school year, 2023. If you're new, I live down in the southern hemisphere. So our school year runs a bit differently to those of you in the northern hemisphere because our summer is now over December and January and February. And so we take our break now, not mid-year. So our school year will begin at the beginning of February or mid-February for us, just depending on how our schedule goes and our summer plans. And I am going to be making some changes. There are a few things that I'm going to be changing because I've learned some things from 2022. And one of them is that I'm not necessarily as much of a Charlotte Mason homeschooler as I thought I would be. I love a lot of her philosophies, but practically speaking, I don't follow all of them. I like more traditional homeschooling in a lot of ways. That is how I was homeschooled, and I actually really enjoyed it. I had a good experience with it. I'm an eclectic homeschooler, for sure. But one of the main things that I wanted to change up in our 2023 school year are read alouds. And not that we're going to stop read alouds, but that we're actually going to do more of them. Because when I look back at our school year and I look back at my homeschool experience, the thing that sticks out the most to me were those times of reading books. The things that stuck with me that I learned the most were from reading books. And I want that for my kids. I want that for our family. It just pulls us in together. It's a shared experience. It's these stories and histories that just intertwine with different books. And that is what we love. It's what we talk about. It's like, then my kids will then watch like a history documentary and they're like, oh, we learned about that. Or, they'll go out and see a toy and they're like, hey, that toy's from like that or whatever. There's just so many ways that it then connects the dots. And so this year, like 2023, I'm planning on doing a lot more literature. A lot more literature-based things, and you will see that when I present my curriculum choices to you. I'm excited about it. I'm also slightly distracted right now because I keep seeing an ambulance going in and out somebody's street, and I don't know what on earth they're doing. Like, it's the second ambulance I've seen. And I'm hoping no one's terribly sick. Anyway, back to the literature. I'm very, very excited for the 2023 school year because we're adding a lot more literature in several areas of our homeschool. So I will chat more to you about that. But I will encourage you to look back on your school year and really pick out the highlights of things that worked well and things you enjoyed and do more of that because that benefits your family overall. So read alouds are a big thing. Okay, the next thing that we're going to be changing is our school day. So we kind of went through a few changes this year as far as our as far as our schedule. So we started with a 4-day school week and that went okay. And then we met like a whole bunch of homeschool friends and decided to have homeschool meetups. And so our schedule changed again and we moved things around and then life came at us from all directions. My husband got sick, things happened, and it was just like bare bones. And we ended up doing like school on a Friday a few times because typically for the past few years I've not done any school on a Friday. Friday's just not been a school day. This year going forward, I'm actually planning on doing a 5-day school week. Just not necessarily full days on every one of those days. So on a Tuesday, we have our homeschool group usually. And so we'll probably have a lighter day then. And then we'll also have a lighter day on Friday. So it'll be like 3 totally full days. And then we're kind of sharing the workload on Tuesdays and Fridays. And I actually have found it easier to still have that routine on a Friday. I feel like we get more done. And it also just gives us a little bit more grace for when we get hit with sicknesses and things, which has just been like a really big part of life for the last year. I think a lot of people can attest to that. And so having that 5-day school week gives us a bit more grace when we cannot do school for whatever reason. or when something comes up or an opportunity comes up and we're just like, hey, I'd rather go on this field trip than sit down and do book work. And I know a lot of people will say, well, it doesn't matter, you can catch up. It matters to me. I like having my school books done by the end of the year. It's just how I roll. It's how my brain works. And so, yeah, I do like to have that. So we're going to be moving away from the 4-day school week, but still having flexibility there for sure. And then the last thing that I'm going to be changing up a little bit, in our 2023 school year is a bit more routine and structure to our days, which is, again, probably an opposing thing to a lot of what you hear in the homeschool community now, where it's just like, just, I don't know, it's just different. Like, you hear a very loud voice for unschooling and less structured days and things like that, and I think there is a place for that. I always think there's a place for flexibility. I'm not anti-unschooling at all. I see the principles behind it, and I think that's great. It's just not what we personally subscribe to. Like, it's just not what we really do. We do learn through life, but it's not something that we embrace wholeheartedly as like our full way of homeschooling. But I want more routine in our days, and I just find that it benefits the entire family. It keeps me more disciplined, and it helps my children ultimately, because sometimes I feel like when there's too much free time and too much free play, that's when behaviors kind of get out of check, and the mess in the house gets on top of me and I can't keep on top of it. And I 100% accept the fact that I will always have a messy home while I have children living here, and that's okay. But there's like mess and there's mess, if you know what I mean. And so I need something that's manageable, and my kids need a mom who's not constantly cleaning. And so by having more routine and rhythm and structure in our day, it actually makes it a lot easier on our family overall. So I'll talk more about our routine next year when I've kind of solidified what we're going to do, but it absolutely will include rest time in the afternoon. And this is something we kind of fell out of the habit of, and it's because my youngest was transitioning out of having naps. So she was 3 for the most part this year, and then she turned 4 in October. And I would say like over the last 2 months, she's transitioned out of having her daytime nap. And I was kind of like, because she wasn't doing that, I was like, okay, we'll do this. And I don't know, it changed the whole routine, and we stopped having rest time in the afternoon. And that was not a good thing for our home. Like, we need that. My kids need to be separate from each other for a little bit during the day. I need to be separate from my kids for a little bit during the day, and it just gives us a time to reset. So that's something that I really want to be pretty strict about next year, is just an hour of rest time every afternoon for all 3 of them, including me. And then also like chores in the morning. Like, I will just be changing up our routine a little bit more to fine tune the best way that it'll work for us and our family. So it's not that I'm making massive changes in those areas, because we always have had a routine and a rhythm to our day, but I actually think it's okay for it to be a little bit more for us. I know that's not going to work for everyone, but for us it works. And it's been a time of transition. I've moved out, like, since we've been homeschooling, I've moved out of the baby stage and then the toddler stage, and now we're in like a completely new stage of parenting. And so I'm having to wrap my head around that as well, and just learn how that's going to work for our family. And that's okay. That's how we do things, and how we make changes that are good for us. And we realize, okay, we actually do need that in our home, even though we're in a different stage of life. So there's that. And yeah, I think that's everything that I've thought of so far for my changes. Nothing else major is happening, and I'm excited to share my curriculum choices, because you'll see more the direction I'm going with this year, and I'm hoping it works for us. Like, it's one of those things, you just don't know if it's going to work until you do it, and I'm excited to get started. I'm also excited for the summer break, so that is what we're going into, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
World had more of your smile. What if the wind could spread your love